guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Classic for you today, we learn how to do Proud Mary by Creedence Clearwater Revival. That's such a, that's a lot of words. Anyway, so we're going to be checking this out. This one's kind of a weird one. Two different guitar tunings being used in this. So both guitars are tuned differently, so we're going to cover all that. First one we're going to cover is John Fogerty's parts, which I just kind of play through there in his tuning, and then we'll check out his brother's guitar parts, which are a little bit back in standard tuning and stuff. Before I get into that, please subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so you know when I release a new video. Like and comment, all that stuff that helps the YouTube algorithms like me a little bit more. And check out my Guitar Academy. It's the best way to support what I do here on YouTube with all these free song lessons. If you enjoy these lessons and you want to get full access to all my courses on top of that, just click the link below. You get a free 7-day trial to my Guitar Academy, which contains all my guitar courses for everything from courses for complete beginners to more advanced courses in technique, improvisation, ear training, theory, guitar tone, you name it. So please come join us, and it's a great way to support what I do here. It's the best way. So let's jump into this. We are now in John Fogerty's parts for all this stuff. So this is going to be the main portion of this lesson, is covering his, because he's got all the fills and the solo and all this stuff. Now what he's doing, he does this in a few Creedence songs. He's tuned his guitar down a whole step. So we are in D standard. So this means the low E string is now tuned down to a D. The A string is tuned down to a G. The D string is tuned down to a C. The G string is tuned down to an F. B string is tuned down to an A, and then the high E string is tuned down to a D. So I'll put those notes in the description below. I know I kind of flew through them. So the way this thing works is you can play this in standard as well, just fine, the chord progression, but it's John and Tom Fogerty's parts. One of them tuned to down a whole step, and the other one just tuned to standard. It makes them play different voicings of the chords. So when it comes together, it's what gives it that very full sound. So to make it sound like the album, that's what you'll have to do. So we're going to cover the tuned down version, the main section, I think, John Fogerty's parts here. And it's going to include, in this tuning, we're going to be playing all the riffs, the chords, the fills, and the solo. So let's check out this intro here. All right, so what he's doing, he's going from a D, and I'm going to call it a D major chord, even though we know now it's actually a C, because this is a D major, but the whole guitar is tuned down a whole step. So it's actually going to make this a C major chord. I'm not going to do that up to you. We're just going to call it a D major, and just it's easier to visually see. Now the way he also plays it, it's the same D shape that you'll play like this, but he plays it with barring his the second finger there, and second fret, I'm sorry. And then just holding that third fret there on the B string with his middle finger, because it makes the transition to this bar chord a little bit easier. So you can do it like this. Doesn't really matter, or this. So we have this D major to his B major chord. Like I said, it's obvious, it's really an A major, but don't worry about that. So that's the second fret here on the A string, fourth fret on the D, G, and the B. So we have D, again D, B, D, B. Now when you get to that B the third time, it's kind of a descending progression. So that's when we go from that B major to an A, just hit that once, and then down to a G major. And when he's on that G, he kind of comes off the strings one time with dun, 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 dun. So you hear this. So what he's doing, he just brings the strings off and kind of hitting those open high E's, or the open high E and the B. You can have this one ring too by coming off of it. And then back down. So just to make it's not you got to come off the chord for one hit. And then we just go to this E major chord shape. And when he first hits it there by itself, he just kind of hits the top strings. So we have this. now we get to what is actually going to be the verse rhythm, which looks like this. So it's just kind of just that E major shape. And he does this little embellishment on it. He'll add this C sharp here, making it a 6 chord, and then back down to the E, regular E. So it just kind of rotates between those two. So he's going to do this whenever you're playing this chord. Pretty much, you're doing that little embellishment, doing the chorus and everything. It's just kind of doing the verse. Just keep that going. I don't know the lyrics to this song, obviously, but it's a classic melody, so I know that. So then for the pre-chorus, we have this. And it goes to the chorus there. So that right there, so this pre-chorus is just 2 chords and usually a fill. So this first pre-chorus is a little bit different than the other 2. So we have, first the chords itself is just going to come up to this B major chord. Kind of just strumming that, and then take it up 2 frets, and we're going to play a C sharp minor chord. Obviously it's a B minor chord. Probably bugs me worse than it does you guys, so I should just get over it. Anyway, so we are at a C sharp minor chord, so barring the 4th fret here, and then play the 5th fret on the B, 6th fret on the G, and 6th fret on the D. So we can keep on running, so that first fill there only happens in this first pre-chorus, and that's going to be hammer 2 to 4 on the A, and then play 2, 4 on the D, and then you're gonna hybrid pick. You're gonna pick this. You're gonna slide into the 6th fret on the D and the G together. Now I'm playing that by picking the note on the D string and plucking with my middle finger here the note on the G string, and then. So we have this. Then take this shape, move it back 2 frets. So just the 4th fret across the D and the G, hybrid picked. And then this last chord, you're gonna jump up here to this. You can't play this here, but when I watched him play a couple of live clips, it looks like he's doing that last chord, jumps up here. So we'll continue that. Just have a little bit of a bigger sound down here is probably why I did it. So we have this. And then over to the 7th fret on the A, 6th fret on the D. And then so that's the first pre-chorus. All right, so now this chorus kind of just most of the chorus except for the fill at the end is just that thing we are doing in the verse. So it's that rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. And then we go into this fill. So more hybrid picking. Now this fill it's going to be sliding up to on the G string, the 4th fret, and the high E string together. So I'm picking that once again with the pick on the lower string, and the higher string is just with my middle finger. Then take it down to the 2nd fret on those 2 strings. Then the 1st fret on the G, but the high E string is going to be open. So the same strings, just. And then what we're going to do, we're going to pick that chord again, you're going to hammer on now back to that second fret on the G and the high E. And then back down to the chord we just came from. So with this. So all right, so we've got that first chorus right there. Then we go back through the verse again. Everything's the same. When we get to the second pre-chorus, that little fill at the end changes. It looks like this. And that's how he plays the pre-chorus fill from here on out. So that little fill, so it replaces this one. It's going to be this instead. So similar to what we did, there's that part is similar to what we did at the end of the chorus. But we have this beginning, kind of hammering 0 to 2 on the B, and then play 0 2 on the high E, and then you do pretty much what you did in the chorus, kind of an abbreviated version of it. You slide up to 4. That 6th, so that'd be in the G sharp, then down to the 2nd fret, and then that 1st fret on the G, open high E together. So it's kind of abbreviated. So with this. So that is that last pre-chorus, or the second pre-chorus, the end of the second pre-chorus, and then we're into the chorus again, which has the same fill as the first chorus. All right, so after we've gotten through that second chorus, it goes back through that little intro progression that we did, mixing it up. All right, now here we get to John Fogerty's solo. Now this is going to be, I'm going to play through the solo, but it's over the verse and pre-chorus chords. So when we get to Tom Fogerty's parts, guitar parts coming up kind of in the second half of this video, that's what you'll play, what he plays in the verse and pre-chorus there. So here's his solo, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. So here we go. So, got some cool stuff in it, and so this first section is just over that verse, which is just pretty much a D major chord. So we're going to be playing this. So that's sliding into the 11th fret on the A string, and then play 9, 11 on the D. And then we're going to take this to this. It's like an E major triad. So that's playing, well, obviously because of the tuning, it's in reality a D major triad. So we have the 9th fret across the D, G, and the B. Now here we do this little kind of a Keith Richards thing. So we're going to be playing this 9th fret, and you're going to then pick it and hammer on 11 there on the D string and hammer on 10 on the B. So that's kind of actually this different rhythm actually. So it's kind of just doing it a little bit quicker at the beginning, and then I'm kind of hammering on. Picking up on the, so pick, hammer, and then upstroke on the E again. So at the very end of it, instead of doing the hammer, you kind of hit the E major a couple of times, and then we're going to go into this. So that's sliding into the 13th fret on the G and the 12th fret on the B. But I have a double stop just so there's adjacent strings now. You can just pick them. And then go down 2 frets, a 10th fret on the B, 11th fret on the G, and then 9th across the G and the B. And then play 9, 11 on the D. And then we kind of start the solo again, so it's with the same thing. But it's the more laid back, kind of a slower version of that riff. Instead of going, it's just start it with the same 3 notes into that E major chord, then hit it, hammer, then back. So just kind of a more relaxed version. Just like that. And then we're going to move down to this is the end of the section that's over the verse. It ends with this. So right there, John Fogerty knows his triad inversions. Look at that. Pretty cool stuff. So now he's just basically taking an E major triad shape down the street sets and played it in different inversions. So he's got this 5th inversion here, his 1st inversion here, and then his root position triad here. So what he's doing is he's playing the 9th fret across the B, G, and the D. Kind of upstrokes there. And then take it down here to the 1st inversion of the E major triad. So that's the 5th fret on the B, 4th fret on the G, 6th fret on the D. And then we're going to go down to the root position of the triad, which would be the 2nd fret on the D, 1st fret on the G, and then open B. So we got this. Now it goes to the next part where it goes to the pre-chorus. So that little line he's doing over there is. So that starts on the 4th fret, kind of sliding into the 4th fret on the G, pick it a couple times, then play 2 on the B string. And then hammer on that 4th fret and pick it a couple times. Then up to 5, back down to the 4, pick it a few times, then 2, 4. One more time. Then we got to do that same phrase, but we're going to move now up a couple frets, up to the 6th fret on the G, and then that's going to be over the C sharp minor chord, or as he's playing over, you're going to, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So we have this 6th fret on the G, 4 on the B, 5, 7, 5, 4, 5. So it's just instead of, it's like that. And that's the end of the solo. It goes back to the rolling into the chorus. Rolling, rolling on the river. And then it goes back into the stuff we've already covered, back into the same verse again, and then back into the same pre-chorus with that same fill in it that we did earlier in the second pre-chorus. That happens again, and then into the same chorus. I'm sorry, same chorus, just to kind of fade out the song. All right, so now we're going to go through this song again. It's going to be a lot quicker because we don't have all these fills and solos to do. But I'm going to tune back to standard. This guy's going to love it. We got through it, buddy. We got through that evil tuning, which he does not like, but we got through it. Now we're going to tune back up to standard, and I'll show you what Tom Fogerty's playing for all these sections as well. All right, so now we are in standard tuning, and we have that same, we're going to go through the same intro, verse, pre-chorus, and chorus, and that's all we'll really have to cover there. Like I said, it's John Fogerty that's doing all the fills and the solo and stuff. So let's start here. Now we can call the chords what they actually are. C major to an A. This is the intro. And then again. Now one more time. Now when we get to that A the third time, just like we did in the previous time learning this part, it's going to kind of descend down. So we have the A, then the G, and then we play just an F, just an F major bar chord, just a full bar at the first fret, second fret on the G, third fret on the D, and the A. Kind of just hit it like that. So we have this all together. Then jump over to a D major chord, just hit that, and then you start just the strumming for the verse, which is just kind of hanging out on a D. So this is just the verse. This is when Fogerty's doing this, obviously tuned down, but. And then we have the pre-chorus, which looks like this. Then we'll keep on turning round and we keep on rolling, rolling on the river. All right, so that was the pre-chorus and chorus. So we just go back for the pre-chorus here. We're at this A. It's pretty much everything 2 frets lower, right? And then up to the B minor, which is going to be that full bar, just a bar across 5 strings at least, at the 2nd fret. Then you play the 3rd fret on the B string in front of it, and the 4th fret on the G, and the 4th fret on the D. And from there, we just go to the D major again for the chorus. All right, so none of his parts, since he doesn't do any fills, it's just kind of the same thing, kind of really strumming on the D for the verses, and then the pre-chorus, the A to B minor, and then back to the D for the chorus sections. And that is about it. And like I said, when we get to the solo, you're just playing that verse where you kind of hang out on the D, and then playing that A to B minor, and then back to the chorus again. So that is about it. Just over the solo is going to be just the verse and pre-chorus. And then the whole band goes into the chorus with the vocals after the solo. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a great song, especially if you can get a couple guitar players. You don't have to have 2 guitar players. If you had one, I recommend going down into Fogerty's tuning. Everything just kind of works a little bit better there. But it doesn't sound quite right unless you have that standard tune guitar playing different voicings of the same chords, and it kind of really fills up the sound and gives it a little bit more high end. So if you have a couple guitar players, it'd be great to be able to divide the parts up like they're supposed to be. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.